Hey, it is Harold again with
Geoff Hemingway. Hi, or Mr. Wonderful. I'll try and swear less this time.
We are here for the salad sequel.
Green.
If you are on your lunch break right now, or your dinner break perhaps, grab your food and join us. We're here for part 2. What do you want to call it?
Snacks make meetings better. No, that's the official. No, it's called The Interview Strikes Back.
The Interview Strikes Back. Hashtag snacks make meetings better.
Always.
Last time we discussed some crawling patterns, doing some carries,
Get ups.
Doing fitness anywhere.
The one thing.
Yeah.
That was a big takeaway.
What is one thing that you've learned about fitness in the last week?
Oh, that's a great question. Honestly, and you would think that this is pretty basic, or at least I was. This is what I was taught from day one. Is if you write things, you should do what you write.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times, especially for me, we get so busy that we start writing things for people or start writing class formats when we do classes here, and then we don't actually do the class sequence or the programs that we write, and we forget how brutal it is. So today, this past week actually, I just wrote our Snatch 2 program. That's our Snatch in 6 weeks. 2. There's part 1 and there's part 2. And Harold and I actually wrote part 2. It's a HGGH joint.
Palindrome.
Pow. So today I started doing it. I started doing the actual workout, the classes, and they're brutal. Mm-hmm. And you just forget how much it taxes your body, and you also forget how out of shape you can get over, especially December. But I think that's key. If you're going to be a fitness professional, you should be able to do the programs that you write for your people at any time.
You know, that makes me think of something that Kevin Larrabee said on a recent Strength Coach podcast. He was talking about the Certified Functional Strength Coach certification.
Yeah.
And Kevin said, you know when you're at Perform Better, and you're just watching the hands-on at Perform Better, and you see coaches who need more than a few movement cues, right? Mm-hmm. The person needs like to just work on their movement pattern before they go out and execute it with speed or for power or for strength. And it always makes me think like, hey, you should be able to do almost every single thing that your general population clients are doing.
Yeah.
Right? When specialization becomes a thing, if the person's working on their snatch test, I don't think you should walk around ready to do a snatch test or ready to run a half marathon or a full marathon or to go into a powerlifting meet. Like, as a general level of fitness, trainers need some more of that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Excuse me.
I also think it's built into a lot of specific tool-based search and programs. So, like, if you're SFG level 2, part of the requirements are you have to press half your body weight. And then from then on, once you're level 2, they expect you to maintain that press. And there was some, like, kind of ice bucket challenge thing going around Facebook of level 2s being like, is everyone maintaining their press? And then putting a video up. And I think that kind of thing is extreme. Like, I mean, for me, I can't do the snatch test right now. I'm trying to get it back, but like, for me, the snatch test is like the hardest thing ever.
Yeah.
And the minute I finish it, I probably couldn't do it the next day. You know what I mean? Like, it's so taxing physically, but I know exactly what I need to do to prepare for it every time I'm getting ready for that event. If somebody came to me and said, hey, I'm doing the snatch test in 4 weeks, I could write them something quick. Something that I would do, and I could rattle it off. I'd be like, this is what you need to do. And I think it's having that, like you said, general GPP, like general physical prep, and also the knowledge, because you have performed that specific rite of passage, that specific ritual. I just finished a pressing program that Pavel wrote to get my press up, because I'm going for level 2, and I need to have my body weight. My press is like lacking. And to quote Pavel, to press a lot, you must press a lot, But like, to keep the numbers straight, like, I have to have some kind of program. And this was just like progressively higher reps of pressing at like my 80% each week. So the first week I did 30, second week 40, then 50, then 60 each week.
Yeah, it's like linear periodization.
Totally. And now that I've done that program, when somebody comes to me and says, hey, I really want to get my press up, I'm doing the Mark Fisher Headman Challenge where you have to press 24s for men and 16s for ladies, or I've never pressed kettlebells before. Like, I can't press a 16.
Right.
I can just rattle off you need to be pressing at like 80% of your max, like 3 days a week,
Totally.
at least 15 times. Because I've been through it, like, you know, instead of just trying to get creative and being like, well, I think that you should do this, you know, this sounds like it would work for pressing.
Yeah,
or
you go right to that. Hey, this is what I've done.
Totally.
Now, do you think that there's a point at which, no, you shouldn't expect a trainer to have that level of experience or that level of physical capacity, and where do you draw that line? Where
I think when you get to training people for specific events, we have a ninja here named Maurice who came to me and was like, hey, I'm doing this outdoor, like, tactical challenge where I have to run and I have to carry men and I have to, like, carry a pack and heavy guns and shit like that.
Yeah.
And I've never done anything like that in my life. Like, I mean, the most I could ever compare it to was, like, camping with scouts or something like that.
Totally.
But, I mean, essentially I was like, okay, this guy is going to have to carry heavy loads for distance. He's going to have to load a truck. And he's going to have to move quick. So I programmed, like, heavy carries, loaded step-ups, and, like, a ton of, like, swings at the end for, like, metabolic, so he would get that quick conditioning.
Totally.
And he wrote me back, and he was like, I love this program. He's like, not only did I, like, kill it with these dudes who are Navy SEALs and Army Rangers and, like, the best of the best. Like, I did a really great job. But, like, I like this program so much just for my general physical being. Like, I feel great when I'm going downstairs, upstairs. Like, I feel really good, like, carrying things. And, like, basically, I'm breathing better.
Right.
And that was one of those, like, stabs in the dark that I just was like, okay, here are the movements he's going to be doing. Let's load him up so when he's doing them in the field, it's, like, easy.
Yeah.
And that was good. But, like, I would never do a tactical challenge or something like that.
Right.
I mean, not because I wouldn't do it, but, like, it would scare the hell out of me.
Yeah. And it's probably kind of interesting, right?
Yeah, totally. Or, like, when somebody comes to me and is like, I want to train for a marathon, like, I think in the last podcast I said I only run for my life. And I do not run. Like, I don't do it. So, when in doubt, refer out. Like, I would send them to somebody else. Or I would say, these are the patterns you're gonna put your body through. And I would just load them, and have them do, like, heavy loaded split squats, heavy loaded alternating reverse lunges, that kind of stuff. And then, like,
on their strength days.
Yeah, and then kettlebell work for metabolic stuff, or, like, lots of burpees and jumping so that their heart rate is, like, through the roof.
Yeah.
And they're still pushing through it. Like, I think you have to kind of create that similar environment of where your body is so taxed, and it's like, I can't do this one more time. Like, I can't get one more rep of this movement.
Yep.
And then I think that's somewhat akin to what they're going to feel. You
right.
know? If I don't know the specific event, like if I haven't done the specific event, I'll do everything I can to create that some kind of environment that is similar. So that when they're in that space, they're not going to lose their shit and give up.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I sort of felt that when I made, let's pretend it's an athletic transformation. When I went from training strictly to pick up a heavy weight a few times to, hey, I want to go on a bike ride. It means more to me now where I am in my life to go on a bike ride and feel really, really good than it is just to deadlift really, really heavy.
Yeah.
And I saw that specificity, and I remember the first time.
Soup now.
Yeah. I don't have soup. Sorry, guys.
Okay.
The first time I went to Stillwell Woods on Long Island, I got the shit kicked out of me because I just wasn't used to it. I was used to deadlifting for triples. Fives felt like cardio.
Well, it's funny how, like, being strong makes this, like, totally... I didn't even know how arrogant I was because I was strong. And I was like, I can do whatever. Like,
yeah.
I went to a TRX cert with you. I was like, I got this. It's TRX. Like, how hard could it be? I had to tap out, like, twice. Like, I was dying. And that's when I was like, holy shit, man. Like, I have to take more class. Like, I have to get my conditioning back up. Like,
yeah. And, like, it's interesting because being stronger makes all of those things better.
Yeah.
But it's not the same as doing it all of the time.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. And I feel, again, this is the first time I'm bringing up Dan John. I love you, brother. And he'll kill me about this, but, like, strength, to me, doesn't fix everything. Like, I can be strong as hell, but if I don't have a certain amount of, like, conditioning credit, I'm not gonna be able to pass the snatch test. I'm not gonna be able to swing for, a minute plus. I'm not gonna be able to do my favorite thing is to do 10,000 swings every October.
Mm.
That's going to kill me. Like, it's going to take me an hour and a half to get through my 500 or
If
whatever.
you don't,
if I don't have that
base
level of conditioning as well as being strong.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's something, I mean, that may be redundant for people who are watching this, well, unless you're my mom. Hi, Mom. I love you. Thanks for watching the first one. For me, that's something that I'm even still discovering. Like, wow, I thought me being strong as an ox, like I'm stronger than I've ever been before,
right,
would fix everything. And then I just took this class that I wrote that's like the beginning of this phase.
Right.
And like, yeah, and like by the end of it, I was like, oh my God, thank God I only have to do section B twice. Like, and later in the week they have to do it 3 times, and I'm dreading it for them.
Right.
Because I just was, especially last year, was so in that mindset, like, as long as I'm strong as hell, like, I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
And now it's finding that happy medium between, like, I need to maintain this strength that I've gained. Like, I don't want to lose that. But I also need to be able to, like, sprint.
Yeah.
I can't sprint for shit, man. Like, I'm listening to articles or interviews on like, the FitCast and whatnot. And they're talking about sprinting and how it's the best thing for you. But,
totally,
you have to get the mechanics down. Like, you have to.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, holy shit, and that's really something that I would eventually like to master. Like, start working on my just base running mechanics, and then being able to, like, drop everything and just, like, go into a hardcore sprint, like Jason Bourne or something.
Yes.
It's so cool.
I can run a quarter mile
before my legs begin to shake.
Yeah.
Ah, nerds!
It's so good, the Bourne Identity.
I love it.
Yeah, that makes me think. Martin Rooney, Perform Better, talked about sprinting.
Mm-hmm.
His whole hour and 15-minute talk was about one exercise that can do everything for you, and it's sprinting, right?
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, most people don't have the mechanics to sprint as efficiently as possible.
Yeah.
And then, therefore, they don't have the movement quality that will let the sprinting be a metabolic conditioning rather than orthopedic conditioning.
Shit out of their body.
Yeah, like you don't want your metabolic conditioning to be orthopedic conditioning, because then your bones and your joints are getting beat up rather than your cardiovascular system or the specific energy system. And if you're not sprinting with good mechanics, you'll become necrotic. And die. Yeah.
I hate that.
You know what one of my favorite things with runners is? I air quote runners, because I don't want to put you guys into a group, but sometimes I do.
You guys. I don't want to put you people.
I don't want to put you people. I'm always worried with runners because they say, hey, I'm going to go out and run. Now I'm going to go out and run more. Now I'm going to go out and run more frequently.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm going to go run out more distances more frequently.
Now I'm at 3K. I want to do a half marathon.
Right.
Yeah.
And when somebody says, hey, like I want to start running, like that's totally fine. I want to make sure that you're doing it for the right reasons.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite thing to have them do is skip. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like skipping mechanics and sprinting mechanics are pretty damn close. And sprinting mechanics is probably the most effective way or most efficient way that we can move. So if we can get somebody just to skip really effectively, and like build up that movement pattern,
and then
build up a little bit of conditioning, and then progress into like the higher loads that come with sprinting.
Yeah.
If you can sprint with great technique, you'll probably jog with great technique, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't really see sprinters with bad mechanics,
jog.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sprinters are like really good at slowing down. They're maybe not as efficient as like the 5K or the marathon runner, but they're better at slowing down. Marathon runners, not so good at speeding up, right?
That's interesting. I bet sprinters have great cross crawls too.
Oh, probably.
Standing cross crawls, I bet they kick the shit out of that.
That's actually, I don't know if you knew this. That's part of the Olympic testing. 100-meter sprinters in the Olympics have to have good cross crawls before they're allowed to race.
It's part of the trial.
Yeah.
I would ace that part.
That's the aesthetic beauty part of the Olympics.
Flex foot. Then they get a headband at the end of it. Right. What are you into right now? Like, what are you programming? Like, what's blowing your skirt up lately? As far as reading and research and whatnot, like, what are you really boned up about?
Things that are blowing up my skirt recently. I've been doing a ton of reading on communication. So I just finished this book called Thanks for the Feedback, which Matt Wilson recommended to me. It's incredible, right? The way that we can have the small conversations in our life that are the ones that really, really create this emotional turmoil for us.
Yeah.
Has really helped me figure out a smoother way. And I try when I talk to people and I'm trying to communicate more effectively.
Yeah.
I say, hey, I'm working on this. Like, give me some leeway here.
Yeah.
So the communication thing is like really, really important to me right now. Both how I communicate with my colleagues, like if I'm talking with you, but how I communicate with somebody that I'm training in person if I'm upstairs, or online if I'm emailing or Skyping with somebody. I want it to be as conducive to their success as possible, right? And frequently for me that means turning off some of the sarcasm or the hyperbolic judgment so I can get, so I can become more connected.
Do you find that the medium really makes a difference in the communication style? Like over the internet, even if you're just talking to somebody on Skype, would you communicate differently than with me here? In the same situation, Tuesday Talk and everything.
Totally. Because you can't see the body language, you can't see, with the camera, as great as it may be, I hope this is in HD, it doesn't pick up all of the intricacies. His beard looks good.
It looks really good.
Just like if I'm sending somebody an email, they can't hear my tone, right?
Totally.
We don't yet have that font, or we don't appreciate that method of communication yet.
Yeah.
So it's hard if I say something that's sarcastic to you on camera, but I say the same exact thing in an email. I might sound like a total dick in the email.
As far as body language goes, it's interesting you mentioned that. I would think that that's really important, especially on like a one-on-one session when you're introducing, or a small group session when you're introducing new movements, or like when you're gauging how they feel that day, or like what they really want to get after. Because I mean, when new ninjas come in, or even just veteran ninjas come in, like immediately we have about 5 minutes to gauge their energy level and how their day was. And
totally.
Like, actually, I mean, for us, it's essentially who we're working with that day. Like, which version of that person we're getting that day.
Right.
And I would think learning more about body language would be invaluable to that.
Totally. Yeah, I realized something that I tend to do is like give a disclaimer before we start the exercise. Hey, this movement, fill in the blank movement, might feel a little bit weird, right? It's different. And in my head, weird and different are the same thing. But sometimes when somebody's not as comfortable exploring that movement, it's just a complete, I may be setting them up for like not really enjoying that, because it's like
weird with
bad,
with shitty, or
yeah,
terrible.
And it's something that I've tried to be really cognizant of recently.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. With this last phase of classes at MFF, we have a lot of, I like to call it movement foreplay. We have a few pairs in our superhero class and our kick-ass class where one exercise done well begets great technique for the next exercise, which is wonderful. As an example, in our current superhero class, we do deadlifts or power swings, which is 1 rep at a time on a kettlebell swing, followed by a dead bug or a plank.
Yeah.
And the dead bugs and the planks are then followed by bent over rows. Yeah. So when I teach that to the class, I say, hey guys, we're going to feel our hips on that deadlift or the power swing. We're going to feel our abs on the deadlift, on the dead bug or the plank. Yeah. Then when we get to the bent over row, you just practiced your hinge with beautiful technique, and then you just practiced your plank or your dead bug, your core stability work with beautiful technique. All you have to do is combine them into your bent over row, and you'll create this beautiful hinge that's the platform for a really strong row.
Yeah. 2 + 2 is 4.
Exactly.
2 + 2. 2002.
2 + 2 is 4.
That's great.
And something like that, I believe, works really, really well for setting somebody up for success.
Yeah.
Where one thing feeds the next one rather than sort of like more arbitrarily pairing things together.
It's just like a random collection of exercises. Like,
right.
Here's your hinge, here's your push, here's your pull, here's your squat, here's your
carry. And that's how we program.
Totally.
But at the same time, if you can let one feed the next one, I think we're setting ourselves up for even more success.
And so, I mean, so speaking about how we program, like if you started with one big lift, so just one big lift and then that's 2 sets next, or supersets or whatnot.
Yeah.
Would you always start with a deadlift, or would you move on to and explore other big lifts to explore when they're fresh? I ask you that, and I already know, like, I just set you up for a perfect "it depends" kind of question. But I mean, like, generally speaking, like, is that the big lift that you want to start with out of the gate, or do what do you think about that stuff?
Generally speaking, I prefer, like, my personal preference is to start folks, if they didn't lift the previous day, with a deadlift.
Yeah.
Where we can just get the greatest level of muscle recruitment possible in one exercise. if they trained the previous day, sometimes it depends, right? If somebody comes in and they took a class here the day before, if they took a spinning class the day before, if they did yoga for an hour and a half the day before, maybe they're not as physically or mentally fresh for a deadlift. It definitely tends to be at the starting spot. And it depends. Sometimes if I go to an upper body starting spot for a day, it's usually a chin up or a pull up variation, something like that. So in general, I start with pulling. If we consider pulling exercises as extension exercises, right, we're getting bigger, and your extensor chain is linked to the sympathetic dominance. So if our brain gets really, really excited to go into extension, let's hit that stuff first off while we're the freshest and we want our brain to be the most active.
There, essentially.
Exactly, like that should be part of your warm-up, is to getting yourself turned on. Hit it, and then as the workout progresses, maybe move towards some stuff that's based on pushing. So if it's lower body pushing and we've got a squat or we've got a bench press or something.
Or like even on overhead pressing.
Overhead pressing, yeah.
From like a person-to-person standpoint, when you have somebody who, they have a set program, and let's say the first move on their program that day, or isn't deadlifts that day, but they come in and they're fucking pumped. So like they want to lift heavy shit, you know? And they're fresh and they're raring to go. Would you stick with the program, or would you be like, you're like so pumped and ready to go, let's put you on that deadlift first? Like deadlifts are later in the program, but like, or pulls or some heavy pull or something like that. Would you move that to the top to take advantage of that sympathetic system?
Yeah, I think it totally depends on the person. Something that I really enjoy is finding that balance between you're like 2 notches heavier, right? You're 2 notches above normal and you're really ready to get after it. But then sometimes if somebody's like, say, 4 notches up there, and they're just so excited,
that's when they get injured.
Yeah, and it's not actually a level of preparation, it's a level of excitement that you need then to bring back down. So it depends. Sometimes people want to come in, they're like, hey, I'm going to go rogue. If I'm working with somebody online and they say, I want to do something else today. Totally. As long as it's an educated decision and there's a purpose for it, rather than, hey, I'm just having this moment where I don't really give a shit. I'm like, whoa.
That's what happens. I mean, snacks make meeting better, but dangerous. That's a good catch.
Thanks. Sports.
Sports. Agility. So that leads me to another question. If you were on a Dan John like prison yard workout system, and you had 30 minutes a day outside, and equipment, whatever, like let's say you have a really nice prison where they have all the state-of-the-art shit.
I would go to the best prison. I would be like blue collar.
Yeah, totally. You've got 30 minutes a day outside to get a workout. What is your move? Well, I mean, what's the moves, man?
I've got weights.
Sure. You got everything you want. This is like the nicest lifting gym ever. Like, you even had kettlebells because it's not a violent crime gym, so like nobody's gonna kill somebody with a bell. Like,
it's the Wolf of Wall Street gym.
Yeah, you're all like white collar.
Okay.
Criminals. You embezzled some money and started a training facility, and then like. So you got 30 minutes a day.
So at the prison that I'm in, with 30 minutes a day, we would have a Kaiser rack.
That's cheating. Like, no special equipment.
Okay. So I would probably go through everything pretty damn close to what I'm currently doing. I would, if I had access to a barbell. Deadlifts, bench press, military press, bent over rows, depending on the height of the rack, and if it includes a pull-up bar, I'd either use the barbell on the rack as a pull-up bar, or I would just use the pull-up bar. I would do a complete shitload of barbell inverted rows. They're one of my favorite.
Like, that's your, like, finisher at the end? So, like, you're doing, like, a 3x5 or, like, a 5x5 or whatever. I mean, other prisoners are going to work in.
Right.
You gotta share that shit.
I would share with my other prisoners.
But you're going heavy, low rep, heavy weights. And just, like, crushing it for 30 minutes.
For the start. And then maybe the next day, so if I only have 30 minutes, maybe I do, like, 6 sets of 3 in 30 minutes. And it's super mellow, but super high intensity while I'm lifting. Maybe the next day, I do 4 sets of 10, 4 sets of 12. Or I go into more of a metabolic concept. So maybe it's 5 squats on the minute for 15 minutes, and then split squats after that. Something that's like a little bit more geared towards hypertrophy and/or conditioning, depending on how you balance that, versus strictly lifting heavy. Because that's something that I've been playing with now. with my programming, with my writing, with my recommendations, and my coaching.
To branch out a little bit from the strictly heavy lift.
Yeah, and
Like
this
the
is
more metabolic.
something that may be controversial for the hypertrophy crowd. I think that a lot of guys who are strictly focused on hypertrophy are not doing enough cardio.
No.
Cardio. So in the traditional sense, we sort of take it as a rule. If you're trying to put on muscle, you're not going to do a lot of cardio. Now, what I think we miss out on is how general aerobic work can benefit what you're doing with your hypertrophy stuff.
Uh-huh.
So I've been trying to play around with simple strength exercises as finishers for some of our hypertrophy folks at MFF, the guys that are getting those hashtag gains, and then pound sign, hashtag gains. Easy example. One of my favorite finishers ever, I tweeted this the other day, is inverted rows, set of 10, goblet squat, set of 10, push-up set of 10, alternating reverse lunges 5 per side.
Oh, shit.
So it's 10, 10, 10, 10.
Yeah.
You know, if you do that round 3 or 4 times, I did it the other day, my average heart rate for those...
Did you poop yourself?
I didn't.
I would have.
4 rounds, something like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Relatively smooth. I didn't try to rest, but it also didn't go as fast as possible.
Yeah.
My heart rate was around like 160 for the entire time.
Yeah.
And I said, all right, the limiting factor is you using that weight. It's not going down so you can get your reps in.
Yeah.
And according to my heart rate monitor, that's cardio.
Yeah.
And then according to my bicep pump, that's hypertrophy work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's finding that balance. I think that more folks can...
Cardio.
Yeah, more folks can get that off trophy.
Hyperdio.
More folks can get that
Hyperdio.
Which would benefit everybody, right?
Well, also, like, dressing it up so they don't think it's cardio is brilliant. Like, just being like, do inverted rows, do goblet squats, do this and this and this. That's not cardio. That's not, I mean, traditionally thought of as cardio.
Right.
And yet they got that metabolic thing, and they have the pump that they want, which is great. I think that's cool.
Yeah, it's a win-win. You get that peripheral heart action.
Yeah.
And then the gains. So we're going to wrap up with Jeff's thought of the day.
Hey, team, how's it going? Thanks so much for joining us for these 2 Tuesday Talks. My thought of the day is basically whittle down your time in the gym to what's really important. I think that prison question really sums it up for everybody. Like, if you had 30 minutes a day to get your fitness in, what would it be? Like, what are your movements that you really want to focus on in that 30 minutes a day? Now, I know that not all of us have that. A lot of us have an hour a day, or we have, all day where we can go to the gym and spend time. But on the other hand, some of us really don't. Some of us are going to the gym on our lunch hour. We're squeezing it in between, play dates or kids' school or work or whatever. And I think if you go in there with that mentality being like, all right, I know I need to hit my deadlift. I know I need to hit my press. I know I need to do squats. And then I'm going to do this magic finisher, whatever it is, this metabolic, whether it's kettlebell swings or inverted rows or Tabata-style goblet squats where you load yourself up with a heavy bell and just go. I think that mentality will really streamline your fitness process.
Totally.
And even make your heavy strength stuff still metabolic, because you got that heart rate up. Like, you're flying from exercise to exercise. And, like, maybe you'll lose a couple pounds off of your press or off your deadlift because there's not a lengthy rest period to recover. But, like, in all, I think you're not going to lose a lot of weight off your numbers, and you're going to get strong as shit, and also your conditioning is going to go up.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Thought of the day. Thanks for joining us for our second Tuesday Talk with
Geoff Hemingway. Oh, also, last time I forgot to mention a podcast. Best Life Radio with Brian Patrick Murphy. That guy is a hero. When I told you to load your backpack up and listen to Fitcast, Kevin Larrabee, or This American Life, Best Life Radio is also fucking great by our colleague Brian Patrick Murphy. Smart, funny, great people. Check it out.
Amazing.
Load up a backpack or something.
Thanks.
Yeah. We are rolling.
We're rolling.
Part 2. Tuesday Talk Strike Back. No, the interview strikes back. It's better.
It's the interview strikes back.
Part 2. The interview strikes back. Come in, Alana. We'll fix it in post. Yeah, love you, Mom. Yo. Try it. what Gibbons said.